All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah Kodash, which is the true name of the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, are two great kings, the gods that the King James Bible speaks of, which again, the true name of the Heavenly Father is Yahweh, and His only begotten Son, who the world in ignorance calls Christ. True name is Yahweh Shai. Second of all, I want to give double honors to my elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Elder Tahar and on down, they rule and teach well. And third of all, I want to give a peace and safety to the hopeful elect out there, the brothers that push this truth, the truth of the King James Bible, and all truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the globe. All right, so I just want to do a short lesson on how alone the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai allows it to go. And this is going to be another edition of a little series I've been doing through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai called There's an All-Out Assault on the Northern and Southern Kingdom. All right, and this is part 2 or 3. Part 2, yeah. No, part 3. This is part 3, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. All right, but Lord Will's brothers can soon to scream. The inspiration for this lesson comes from this is the first article of 2 that I have where the inspiration through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai for this lesson comes from. And this is from the Hill. And it says, Cubans sleep on seaside boardwalk to seek relief from crippling blackouts and summer heat. All right. So we know this devil Trump is, you know, the Trump administration or the U.S. government, all right, has a bullseye on Cuba, all right. And you better believe they're behind all of these blackouts, you know, and other things, all right, other bad things that's going on down there in Cuba. You better believe that Esau is behind them, all right, the Trump administration or whatever, all right. So again, this is the first article I have. Let's just play this one. I can read a little bit of it. It says, Alexi Rios Garcia, it's like if I pronounced that wrong, awoke not to his bed in Cuba, all right, Cuba's capital on Monday, but to a ocean breeze and concrete. All right, so they're sleeping outside. You can imagine all the bugs. All right, sleeping on concrete, man. All right. Havana's famous seaside boulevard. The 30-year-old construction worker ended up curling up with other Cubans on the city's sea wall in Malicans, like if I pronounced that wrong, in a desperate attempt to escape the suffering summer heat during yet another island-wide blackout. All right, and it's been hot as hell, down here in Florida. I can only imagine how hot it is down there in Cuba. All right, and again, they're sleeping on concrete. It's hot. All right, bugs. All right, they're catching hell, but it's cooler outside than it is in their house. I imagine it has to be. Why else would they? Why else wouldn't they be? Why else wouldn't they sleep in their house? All right, it's cooler outside than it is inside. All right, Sunday night marking his sixth island-wide blackout. A Sunday night marked the sixth island-wide blackout since the Trump administration effectively cut Cuba off from oil, right? Because of uh them going down there and arresting Maduro, all right, which Cuba was getting their oil and certain other natural resources that they needed from Venezuela. And with them going down there and arresting Maduro, all right, now they've been cut off from that. All right. In January, the move plunged the crisis-stricken country into freefall, while authorities on Monday said they were working to get the power back on. Much of the island still has no electricity. The energy grid collapse had people like Garcia with fewer options to get by as the U.S. maintains its pressure campaign against the communist-led government. Things are only getting worse. Tomorrow it'll collapse again, and this is coming to America too. Rolling blackouts is coming here to Babylon too, and we'll be back to sleeping on the I'm trying to pronounce that again. Said Garcia, who used a piece of yellow foam as a pillow to cushion his head from the tough concrete. And this is all because of this devil. All right, it's all because of this devil. But on the flip side of that as well, all right, because we know, all right, nothing moves and nothing happens without the Most High sanctioning it. All right, like it says in Amos the 3rd chapter, you only of all the families have I known out of the earth, on the earth, roughly paraphrasing. Therefore, I will punish you for your iniquity. So this is punishment from Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. All right, punishment from the Lord. All right, the situation down there in Cuba, because Esau is the Most High sword, and he's using this sword to punish our people down there because they're wicked. All right, they're wicked. So again, we understand that, ultimately the Heavenly Father is behind this. All right, and he's using his sword again, which is Esau Edom, to for the job, to do the job. All right. So this was the first one, and I'm gonna pause it real quick and get the second one. All right, Slaki brothers. This one here I can't read because you have to be sign up for their membership or whatever, which is like $60. Too damn high. Damn, where is it, man? I just had it. All right, Louis brothers can see on the screen. It's right here. It says, as Haitians brace for the end of TPS, some Republicans rejoice. All right, so I'm gonna go back and look up TPS, what TPS stands for. All right, it's from the AI overview, and it says the Trump administration ended temporary protection status, which is what TPS stands for more than 300,000 Haitian immigrants following a courtroom decision allowing the termination to proceed. All right, so over 300,000 so-called Haitians, which are the so-called Haitians are really from the tribe of Levi, one of the 12 sons, or one of the 12 tribes, Salakia, or sons. Well, one of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel, because they're, Haitian, Salakia, Levite women as well. One of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. All right. So over 300,000 Haitians, so-called Haitians, all right, are losing their temporary protection status. So he's gonna sick ICE on them as well. He's gonna use ICE on them as well. All right, which he's already been doing. Which there was a couple of incidents where ICE was already after the so-called Haitians. All right, which will represent the Southern Kingdom. The Northern Kingdom, which will represent Cuba, all the people down, all the, the Spanish-speaking tribes, Manasseh, so-called, well, the Cubans are Manassites, so-called Puerto Ricans, the tribes down there in South America, all right, which came up here, and, now ICE is after them. And that's still going on, too, by the way, all right? Go back to the hill. That's still going on, too. All this other stuff was going on, war in the Middle East and all of that. And ICE is still out there hunting down the tribes. It says, ICE says Salvadorian man dead following medical emergency, meaning they killed him at a Newark detention center. All right, so they put him to death. And they're blaming it on some medical condition, but they put him to death. They probably beat him to death. All right. So yeah, man, it's all out of assault on the northern and southern kingdom. And now, with this temporary protection status thing being lifted, being terminated, now they're gonna come after the so-called Haitians, which again will represent the Southern Kingdom. Southern Kingdom represents so-called Negroes, Haitians, West Indians, Jamaicans, Trinidadians. All right. You got the Northern Kingdom, which will represent the so-called Cubans, Puerto Ricans, the tribes down there in South America, Spanish-speaking tribes down there in South America. All right, and the Native and Seminole Indians, which ICE is also after them too, by the way, after the Gadites and Reubenites. This is Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel, which again will represent the Northern Kingdom, so-called Latinos and Native and Seminole Indians, and the children of Judah, which represent the Southern Kingdom, so-called Black Americans or Negroes, African Americans, or what have you, Haitians, Trinidadians, Jamaicans, or what have you. Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast, and they refused to let them go. And who took us captive? All right, all the nations took us captive at one point, but now we're in the hands of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. All right, but the Lord said we were oppressed together, and we are being oppressed together. It's devils turning up the heat on us, turning up the heat on the tribes. All right. Again, they're responsible for them blackouts and rolling blackouts and not having any power, and all them sanctions that have been put on Cuba throughout the years. All right. Them heavy sanctions that, got jack Cuba up. All right. That's why they're riding around in cars from the 1960s and 50s. And their infrastructure is terrible. I mean, terrible. You go on YouTube and you can watch videos of people visiting Cuba and recording it. The infrastructure is terrible, man. All right, buildings, hanging on by a thread, being held up by 2x4s pretty much. Well, not buildings, but like roofs and things like that. Well, yeah, buildings too. More than likely buildings too. All right, so this devil's been headed out on them, and now they're turning up the heat. This devil Trump is turning up the heat, and now he canceled the TPS thing for the Haitians, so-called Haitians. All right, now he's coming after them, and ICE has been hunting down the Northern Kingdom left and right. So we're being oppressed together. All right, but the Lord is going to get this devil. Their Redeemer is strong. Who's our Redeemer? Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. The Lord of hosts is his name. And he shall thoroughly plead their cause, that they may give rest to the land, and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon. A sword is upon the Chaldeans, saith the Lord, and upon the inhabitants of Babylon, and upon her princes, and upon her wise men. A sword is upon the liars, and they shall doth. A sword is upon their mighty men, and they shall be dismayed. A sword is upon the horses, upon the chariots, and upon the mingled people that are in the midst of her, and they shall become as women. And a sword is upon her treasures, and they shall be robbed. A drought is upon her waters, and that's happening now. A drought upon her waters. It was like 7 cities, all right, where they're saying they're going to run out of water due to a cyber attack or whatever, which is more than likely an inside job, and they should be dried up. For this is the land of graven images. And Babylon definitely is that. And they are mad upon their idols. Therefore the wild beasts of the deserts, which the wild beasts of the islands shall dwell there, and the owl shall dwell therein. And there shall be no more inhabited forever, neither shall it be dwelled in from generation to generation. And that's the ultimate fate of America. Completely, this place being completely and utterly wiped out. And, the Lord is going to, make this place a desert, and the only, things or creatures that will be able to live here are creatures that can survive in desert-like climates. As Yahweh overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighboring cities, therefore thus saith the Lord, so shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein. Behold, a people shall come from the north, and a great, well, that's pretty much all I wanted. All right. So yeah, the Lord is going to judge this devil for what he's done. But again, this is also punishment from Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. This is Amos chapter 3 verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known from all the families of the earth. Therefore I will punish you for your iniquity. All right. So the Lord is punishing our people down there in Cuba. You know, ultimately he's going to punish all the tribes, the 2/3 of our people. All right. I'm going to jump down to verse 6. Shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in a city, and have not the Lord done it? Right. The word evil through the spirit and power, which the elders and apostles of Great Millstone have broken down or went into many times, means bad. All right. The situation down there in Cuba is bad. You know, the situation that, with ICE, is bad. What ICE is doing to our people is bad. It's evil. All right. What, they're going to do now with this protection thing being suspended, all right, to the so-called Haitians is bad. It's evil. But again, who's responsible? Who's behind it? Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. All right. Because of the wickedness of our people. But again, on the flip side of that, the Lord is going to get this devil for what he's doing to us, and what he's done to us, and what he continues to do to us to this very day. All right. So with that, I pray this lesson was edifying. Lord willing, I wasn't too all over the place. Jake just got off of work. Jake tired. I just wanted to speak on 2 articles real quick. Lord willing, this video was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah Kwadash. Double honors again to my elders and apostles of Great Millstone. And peace and safety to you brothers that push this truth and sincerity. And with that, I'm going to say shalom to the elect.